Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to have you with us for this session. Before we begin, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you afterward. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Agnieszka, floor is yours.
Thank you, Kasia. Hello, everyone. Hi, Luis. How are you today?
Hi, good morning, Agnieszka. How are you? Fine,
Very
thank you over here.
good. Even better now when we start our webinar. So tell me what hour is for you, because I think it's very early.
I'm 8 a.m. here, Eastern
So not
time,
so bad. Not so
Eastern
bad.
Standard Time. No, not too bad.
Yeah. All right. So once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Agnieszka Kamińska. I'm head of sales and marketing at Wincom Technologies. And we are like in connectivity market for 30 years. Yes, this year is our anniversary, and we are helping customers to build the strong and secure communication networks. Uh, and today, especially, in industrial environments, connectivity is no longer just about keeping systems online, but it's also about keeping them secure. And this is exactly the topic of today's webinar. Uh, we are very happy to work with FreeWave because we see growing demand for secure remote connectivity. And I think today's webinar will give you a practical look into the topic, and you will be also able to ask our special guest Luis all the questions that you need to ask and you need to know. Okay, so thank you again for being here, and now I would like to hand over to Luis from FreeWave.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Agnieszka, and good morning, everybody. Afternoon or evening, wherever you're at. Um, so yeah, I wanted to talk about today about data security in a driven world. Today, we see more and more proliferation of these AI tools that can allow hackers and expose or exploit the vulnerabilities of multiple networks. So FreeWave has launched a new solution, and I will walk you through it. It's Zentry. It's a zero trust network overlay that we provide to secure mission critical networks. So to start, I would really like to give you a background of who FreeWave is. We've been 32 years in business. We're not a new company, always connecting mission critical networks in multiple industries like manufacturing, electrical utilities, precision agriculture, oil and gas, government and defense, mining, and water, wastewater, just to name a few. Uh, we're headquarters in Boulder, Colorado. We design, manufacture, and test our solutions in USA. We support it out of our USA and headquarters, and support through our network of distribution partners. So Wincom's our partner for EMEA and also partner in the Americas. So they are very well versed in the FreeWave solutions as well as this new Zentry solution. We've been recognized in the market with many of the big companies on the long range, low power communications for SCADA, machine to machine telemetry. So always connecting these remote sites securely with our technology. Um, in the 900 ISM band, 400 megahertz radios for these type of networks. About 3 years ago, we started going into more of a software-based solution for customers, and we also developed a security gateway. That's a hardware piece of it, and I'll talk about that in a later slide. Is the ES1000. But going into the main topic of this webinar, we deployed our Zentry. Like I said, we started developing about 3 years ago. About 2 years ago, we deployed it. It's a SaaS platform as a service for secure OT, operation technology, and IT communications. Here are some of the logos, some of the customers that I mentioned in the multiple verticals. So a lot of electrical and water utilities, as well as agriculture, oil and gas, and government and defense.
Luis, if I can interrupt you for a moment, I think it would be better if you would put the presentation on full screen so we can see it better.
Uh, it goes to another.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So that better.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Because it goes to my third screen there. So talking about FreeWave, FreeWave Zentry, like as I mentioned, is a zero trust network overlay. Basically, nothing to expose, nothing to exploit. Basically, what we provide here is a zero trust network overlay, software as a service. It's composed of three items, or two items are software. One item is the hardware piece to it. So we have the Zentry console, which is the the platform where you will manage all your users, devices, and functions that you would create, and then a Zentry end client license, which is what will be installed in the devices. It's important to note that this Zentry end client is agnostic to the operating system. So the Zentry end client could be installed in any Windows Core, Mac OS, iOS, Android, any Linux environment like Debian or Yocto, and also it's Docker container ready and can also be implemented at the with an SDK level at the firmware level of some of the devices. So we with this solution you will provide your customers reduced operational risk, simplify the complex environments that they that they have today. Cybersecurity today is very fragmented, so multiple vendors, multiple tools. What we do with this tool is remove the first attack, the first level of the attack chain, which is the external threats, by removing the IP addresses and IP ports, on open IP ports, based on going into an identity-based solution. Um, Also, this solution will allow customers to, enable tools that will help them with compliance, cybersecurity compliance for like NIST, CISA, SOC 2, and some of the other uh, standards or frameworks. And also, it helps customers with for auditing cybersecurity auditing purposes by providing logs into the security and event management systems that they already have in place. An example of one of those CMs that they called will be a Cisco Splunk that we will be able to deliver data to that. And then the other part that I mentioned was the ES1000 is our security cybersecurity hardware. It does have a powerful edge compute on it that can run multiple functions, be able to secure multiple sites through this specific device. It also has multiple communications barriers like Ethernet ports for connectivity of like satellite or fiber optic, or it does have Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity. FreeWave also provides a global cellular connectivity SIM card that's airtime for data purposes. So we can provide a full turnkey solution all the way around this network overlay and the communications. Let me. So how does it work? Zentry, helps customers once you're up in the network in the zero trust network overlay. It helps you access specific applications or devices. It also allows users to authenticate with a strong cryptographic identity. We provide a token or a certificate that will allow the devices to enroll into the Zero Trust Network Fabric. That once you're in that network fabric, you start creating the policies, and that creates a secure outbound only session from the devices. And I'll show you in a minute what those secure outbound sessions look like. So Zentry creates a secure temporary access path that only exists when authorized and only for exactly what's needed. On the compliance side, every session is tied to a verified user and the device identity, which is the token that I mentioned. It helps customers support all the compliance checklists for SOC 2, CMMC 2, CISA, and many other frameworks from all the different countries around the world. So basically, it strengthens customers' posture for insurance also by reducing the attack surface. So Zentry turns Zero Trust from a concept into a measurable and auditable reality. Here's an example of a typical network where you would have, a device, company resources, and everything's monitored by firewalls and you create connections via VPNs. And what we have is that those networks are pretty much exposed, and they're vulnerable, and that's how many of the hacks that you see today and ransomware are being performed. It's user ID and password are not the best security for your external threats. So what Zentry proposes is basically you install a Zentry agent on each of your devices. These devices receive a token, and that token allows them to enroll into that Zentry fabric. Once these two devices, they only need an outbound port to connect into the Zentry fabric. That means that there's no inbound open ports on IP addresses. So that's how we remove the vulnerability. And once they connect into the fabric, they create a secure tunnel that is encrypted via a CISA 20 poly 1305, which is similar to AES 128. We do have that sort of encryption also in some of the Zentry agents, but for this particular, the majority of the cases are with this solution. So hackers cannot see the individual traffic of the port. They cannot sniff it. They cannot see the IP addresses or the ports. So that was pretty much how the traffic flows. This is a slide which shows that. But Zentry endpoints can live in different clouds, data centers, or on-prem environments. We still have not launched our on-prem solution, but that's coming in the next quarter or so. The endpoints connects outbound to the Zentry fabric. It has internet or private network. So practical examples would be, an application that's running on a virtual machine in AWS. You're protecting that, allowing certain users that have access to that function or that route into those services that have Zentry deployed in their devices. Another example would be, you have OT devices that are running behind cellular network address translations. We can provide security for those, and all three will be connected outbound. So there's no need to, no VPNs, no site-to-site tunnels, no firewall openings. As I mentioned, we only use the 443 outbound only from the devices and the servers. So let me pause there for a moment. Let me look for an example so I can show you a little bit better how this works. And this is what a typical network would look like. You have remote users, you have other vendor devices. As I mentioned, we're agnostic to the operating system, so we can run on any type of device that has an operating system on it, and we can install the the Zentry agent on it. We've installed it in multiple vendors. We've installed it in devices like Dell computers or Dell servers, NVIDIA Jetson devices, Raspberry Pis, Deltonicas, Peplinks, you name it. If it has some sort of a Linux environment or Windows, we can install the Zentry agent on it. See, this is a typical network. Firewalls, VPNs, is the way to get into the network. They provide you access, but that means that once somebody has access through a VPN into your network, all your network connections are open ports, and that's where the exposure gets generated. When access is based on network reachability, a breach creates a broad exposure. An attacker through a perimeter can scan every IP, move laterally if they get in, and that's where Zentry comes in. We installed Zentry agents on the blue devices here. Create the token, enroll them in the Zentry fabric, and once you're there, validated, you can start creating connections and creating the encrypted tunnels. Then you create policies to say, okay, these users can access certain services within the network, and everything else would be invisible to the internet or to the users that are getting into this. So basically, you're doing microsegmentation. You are avoiding lateral movement from any user being able to access other resources. So in essence, that's how we protect the network. If I go back here, what I mentioned a lot about the compliance and auditing and all that. We have a very, very good tool. It's called a Zero Trust assessment dashboard. Basically, this can be used for any customer, where they will be able to answer about 125 questions around 13 pillars of cybersecurity, and this will tell them where they're today within that cybersecurity. So this is an example, simulated data that we put for a customer. Their current score after answering the questions is 1.5. Once they deploy Zentry, this is the green is where they will be getting better security coverage. So they will be getting better security at login telemetry, data security applications and workloads, and also protecting their cloud and SaaS, and increasing their strategy and governance around cybersecurity. So that's one part of it, is the zero trust maturity level that they can gain. And the other part is, this framework compliance that I mentioned, SOC 2 compliance or NIST, or, we can map this Zentry to compliance purposes for, as I mentioned, many of the other standards or requirements per country. We just, need to collaborate on that with you guys. But in this case, somebody that wants to become SOC 2 compliant, after answering all those questions, their current score is about 48. If they were to implement Zentry, that would take them up to 87% of compliance. That means that they went very fast within that compliance target, and then other tools would need to come in and complement that, like EDRs or other cybersecurity tools that will help them achieve that. No. Again, this is across these pillars, the risk heat map that we provide, and then going back to here. In the end, what we really provide at the end, once the customer submits this, they can view all 20 cybersecurity threats mapped to assessment controls with risk severity. And this is pretty much what the tool gives them, where they have threats and need some immediate actions, some partial risks, and then critical and high unmitigated risk that they need to work. So that's that. Um, Going back here, I wanted to also take the time putting this a 4-minute video really that I'd love to for you guys to see. It's about really showing you. We say that we're invisible. I'm going to show you in this video that we are really invisible, how it's done. So we'll take just 4 minutes to watch this video.
Hey everybody, Andrew Livingston, Senior Sales Engineer here at FreeWave Technologies. I wanted to take a moment today and just look at the power of our Zentry solution and really where the security comes from and the power of the invisibility. What we're going to do real quick is I'm going to give a quick baseline. On the left-hand side right here, we are looking at Wireshark. This is a packet analysis tool. This lets network and security teams inspect traffic that's moving across the network in real time. So what I'm going to do is open this Wi-Fi connection here. We can start seeing that traffic move. We see what systems are talking, what ports are active, and really what protocols are in use. This is the visibility that is exactly what we want to see here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use port 443 as a reference point, and I'm going to open that up. Just put the command right here on the top. As I open this up here, the reason we're using this as a reference point is not because it has anything to do with the MQTT broker. The point is very simple. When an application communicates directly over a TCP port, Wireshark shows that port activity. And that's what we're looking at right now. So port 443, we see all the activity coming through that. And really what I want to do is from the security angle, ports are really part of the visibility attack surface. If a service is reachable by an IP or a port, attackers can scan it for a fingerprint and then they can start to probe it. So the question is not just does the application work? The question is what does the network expose while it is working? And that's really a frame that I want everybody to hold on to as I continue throughout this demo. Now on the right hand side here, you're going to see our MQTT Explorer. Okay. Now this is connected. This is widely used for telemetry, different IoT devices, industrial systems, remote monitoring, and this has something different than a direct network connection. So right now, it is going over port 8884, which is very common on MQTT broker. This typically is the port. Now, as I open up that port here, I'm going to get rid of 443 at the top and just type in 8884. And as I open that port here, it's completely blank. Okay. Now, why this is important is Wireshark should show traffic on this port. The TCP handshake session activity packets, everything should be here and it should look normal, but it's blank. There's nothing there, and keep that in mind here. As you look at MQTT broker, you can see the connections. We can see the different topics coming through. We can see the telemetry. So the observation that we're making here is MQTT is in fact working. The telemetry is there, but the direct TCP 8884 session you'd expect from a traditional connection is not showing up on the physical interface. And the reason we're doing that is remember that Zentry is a network overlay. It's a zero trust network overlay. This is really, really important because during normal network configurations, connections are made, whether it's remote devices, internet, vendor devices, and these go through firewalls or VPNs to really give us connections to our protected assets. That's where that exposure comes from. This is lateral movement. This is where bad guys get that fingerprint, they look at that exposure, and then they start connecting the dots to see if they can get in. But what Zentry does is it uses a cryptographic ID. It goes right on top of your network. This is the overlay. This is really important because the application works, the service is available only to authorized users, but nothing is sitting out there and that is open or scannable because our connections, they're outbound only to our Zentry fabric. And within this fabric, what happens is we look at our policies and we start evaluating different things. Is the identity enrolled? Is it valid? Is this service authorized for identity? And does this device posture even pass? Once it does, we create a secure path and then we secure it to everything else. So what Zentry does here is we are that zero trust network overlay, and we can give very specific request services to very specific applications. And that's really, really important here. And this is how Zentry makes everything invisible, and this is the real power behind it.
All right, thank you. So yeah, as I mentioned, there's a pretty good video showing how we're invisible. We do offer 30-day trials. We do offer the Zentry workshop that I showed, and those are very, very good tools that can be utilized. So going back to the deck, let me eliminate this. All right, going back to the deck. These are examples, basically a technical diagram. You have the users on the left, you have the Zentry fabric in the center, then you can put the ES1000 to secure, or, ES1000, or as I mentioned, agnostically, we can use or work with any other vendor as long as they have an operating system on their device. To be able to protect those remote sites, remote assets, utilizing different services within those sites, where you have the maintenance guy, user number 3, being able to access everything within that site for maintenance and upgrades and all that. SCADA systems or MES systems or ERP or whatever services, server services you have, being able to access all of the data that's in the field, and then multiple users within the organization or third-party vendor access, being able to access only to what you want to allow them to use. So that's that. Here's an example. This is a deployment of how we made a ranch invisible to the internet. So this customer in specific has a Starlink device deployed to the ranch, and Starlink basically provides an IP address to be able to reach those devices or everything that's below that. So that's an exposed vulnerability, DDoS attacks. It's hackers haven, exposed IP addresses. But once we deployed a Teltonica or an ES1000 with the Zentry on it, then you're able to make all the network below it invisible and only be able to access by the people who have Zentry deployed in their devices to create that secure tunnel. And even then, once we have that network below, we can segment it. So in this case, there's two parts of the ranch. There's the OT area where they have the pumps, the wells, the irrigation systems that are being accessed by maintenance crew or the people that are managing the ranch operation. On the other side of the ranch, there's the let's call it the luxury part where you have guests and uh, people that are attending venues that need access to all the other part of the community areas, like the Sonos system or the all the amenities that need to be accessed. So those are that's how it's microsegmented. This is a very high level overview of what the zero trust network overlay or the Zentry fabric looks like. This is what our ES1000 would look like, protecting OT devices at the edge. As I mentioned, there's like a software embedded version with SDK tools that we can provide, or that we could work with customers to be able to do that. This is a software as a service multi-tenant solution that can be sold by MSPs or MSSPs, managed security service providers, system integrators, and so forth. So it is multi-tenant. You'll be able to have a space within the platform to be able to resell these services. This example is, as I mentioned, even though we come from the OT world, from the operational zero trust world. Zentry works just as well in the enterprise. So basically, it's creating those secure tunnels between the laptops, the smartphones, accessing the services at the headquarter level. So that's how you would be using it here. So Zentry is not a VPN. VPNs extend networks and create virtual paths into it. Zentry does not extend the network at all. We're identity based, and we only grant access to specific application or services. So those users are not allowed to laterally move through the network. We use cryptographic identities, no inbound ports. We create temporary accesses, so just in time sessions that disappear when the access ends. We enforce policy on every session. We prevent the lateral movement, and our endpoints are not discoverable or reachable. And Sentry has no inbound firewall chain, so it can be deployed on top of any network without doing any heavy lift or changes. It's just a network overlay on top of that. Here's another example. You have the Sentry in the center. You create that token, which is pretty much like a unique identity birth certificate, indicating that this device now is connected to the Sentry fabric to protect all the devices. And then you could be protecting things like hotel resorts or robotics or utilities or golf courses or any well site or solar farms. I mean, it's endless what you can protect with it. So as I mentioned earlier, or during the webinar, I was going to talk about a little bit about FreeWave's RF solutions. So this is the hardware part that we provide. So we provide 900 megahertz radios, 400 megahertz radios that are serial or Ethernet, and then we evolve that by connecting sensors through our I/O communications, converting that into protocols like Modbus RTU, and we transport that back into and through the ES1000 to protect the network. What that would look like, as an example, is, let's say you have an oil and gas facility, you deploy a point-to-multipoint solution with I/O ports to connect things like pumps, or what are you connecting from the pumps? Current, voltage. You connect things like level, like water or tank level monitoring, pressure, temperature. So you collect all that data and securely send that data to the people that need that data, and the company servers that need that data for decision making, predictive maintenance, and so forth. So that's how it would be deployed. A good example here is, as I mentioned before, is like this maintenance crew would have access to everything so that they can provide maintenance to the operation. But let's say this user on the top is the finance guy, and he needs to have in real time what the flow of the oil or the gas is in real time, to be able to do transfer of custody, to be able to bill that and provide the actual reality of what the company operation is generating financially. So that person would only have access to that data and not have access to the rest of it. So that's where the lateral movement is eliminated, and you only see what you're allowed to see. So that's a good example. Here's a full end-to-end solution of where FreeWave is today. We provide from right to left. We have a solution called Wave Contact. This is basically a battery-operated solution that's for the last mile. It collects data from sensors into a gateway, and then from that gateway we can do point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, and backhaul all that information through our 900 megahertz radios, and then in the go out to the WAN securely by the ES1000, which, as I mentioned, it has the failover capabilities, where through the Ethernet ports you could plug in either fiber or you could plug in satellites from Starlink, from Viasat, from whatever provider you're working with, or you could utilize the LTE module that's in there, or it also has Wi-Fi. So if you had a Wi-Fi network, you could plug it into your Wi-Fi network, but you'll be able to secure all that remote site. So that's in a nutshell. Let's see this last slide. If we look at what energy, multiple energy, this could be coal sites, nuclear sites, wind turbine, wind or wind turbines or solar panels. So anything that's remote and needs security, that's where the FreeWave Zentry would work. As I mentioned, again, I want to reiterate that it's agnostic to the communications, it's agnostic to the cloud, and it's agnostic to the operating system. So we are not, or we are more of a collaborating with multiple vendors rather than competing. So anybody that has a network that is unprotected, we can protect it for them. So we have a few more minutes. If you want, Katie, if you have maybe some questions.
Yeah, if anyone have a question, you can leave it in the chat. We're gonna answer it. But if some questions are later on, I'm gonna send you all recording of the webinar so you can get back to it, and you can always ask the question and we're gonna reply to it.
All right, perfect. So just let's show some of the tools that we have. So this is our website. You go here, Zero Trust. There's data sheets, and the assessment that I mentioned is right here. Customer can go in here and create that. We have our support team. So this is where all our documentation is, and then here's for the Zentry, some demonstration videos. These are user guides on how to install Zentry, how to configure the endpoints, how to create that multi-tenancy. The multi-tenant, you can take a look at what the multi-tenancy looks like. Here's, it shows the multiple different customers and users, and that's what the platform looks like. And this is where you, as a MSSP or system integrator, can and will be able to sell this service for your customers. So training's there on our support site, and yeah, we have all these tools. We're looking forward to collaborating and working with you guys to identify opportunities. We have more and more information. We can have demo or POCs enabled for you guys. So with that said, thank you, and I appreciate your time today and look forward to working with Wincom EMEA and their customers.
Yeah, thank you, Luis, for this great presentation, and thank you everyone for your time and for joining us.